So right now, I'm really using CBO's campaign budget optimization for scaling. If you don't know what CBO is, CBO stands for campaign budget optimization. There was some rumors a while ago that CBO was going to become mandatory for all Facebook advertisers. That was actually not the case, and now it isn't mandatory, it's optional. What's going on, you guys? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my favorite CBO insider tips that I haven't shared with anybody else on YouTube. Now, I have been running Facebook ads for over 2 years, and if you're not already familiar with CBO, it's something that I highly recommend you get familiar with, because CBO is what I've been using to really scale my campaigns to the next level. Please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and make sure you are subscribed if you aren't already. Now, let's get right into it. The first point is that CBO likes higher budgets. Why? A larger budget gives Facebook more room to work, and your ads will actually reach more people. Now, when you're running CBOs, if you're running small CBOs less than $150, I don't recommend you actually watch this video. I recommend you actually click off the video right now. This is purely for people who want to spend money and actually make money with Facebook ads. If you don't have the money to invest in your business, then Facebook ads isn't for you, and dropshipping and e-commerce is not the right route for you. Now, with that said, $150 spend is a very good amount to start out with CBO, and I've found over testing, 10s, 20, 30 products just using this strategy, I found that a budget of at least $150 works the best. Next point is I recommend you start with at least 4 to 10 ad sets in your campaign. You want to set your campaign budget, as I mentioned previously, to $150. You'll be creating 4 to 10 ad sets per CBO campaign. Each ad set will be a different interest or a custom audience, with everything else in the ad set remaining exactly the same. And that's why you're only going to be testing one thing, and that is the specific interest. I recommend killing the bad ad sets and rotating in fresh new ad sets. And all while doing this, when you're killing ad sets, you're turning off ad sets, you want to make sure you maintain that at least 4 ad set rule in your campaign while not going over 10 ad sets. As I go through some of these other points, I want to make sure you guys are actually paying attention to this video. So if you got to this point of the video, please comment down below free value so I know who's actually watching the full video. Right now, I'm really using CBO's campaign budget optimization for scaling. If you don't know what CBO is, CBO stands for campaign budget optimization. There was some rumors a while ago that CBO was going to become mandatory for all Facebook advertisers. That was actually not the case, and now it isn't mandatory, it's optional. All advertisers on the platform. And here's a breakdown of exactly what campaign budget is, what it looks like with campaign budget optimization, what it looks like without. So basically, without campaign optimization, it's going to spend $10 on each of your ad sets, or whatever you set the overall budget to on your ad sets. With campaign budget optimization, you set the budget at the campaign level, and it will distribute your budget across the ad sets. For example, $7, $18, and $5, as you see on the screen there. It's a pretty simple concept to understand. If you still don't understand the concept of CBO, just go ahead and Google it online, and I'm sure you can find the answers there. Now, I use CBOs for scaling primarily. This is because CBOs for scaling work by far better than they do for testing. I have been using them for both testing and scaling, and I found that if I put all my winning ad sets from my ad set level budgets, and I actually put those into a CBO, let them run wild, they do way better than if I were to test using a CBO. Now, what you need to do in order to use this strategy, in order to use CBOs for scaling, is identify your high ROAS ad sets and place those into your scaling CBOs. You can do this as many times as you'd like. Generally, we'll start out with at least 10 single interests that have been performing well and put those into a CBO at around $150 per day minimum. Another insider tip for CBOs is to have at least 2 ads per ad set. Going further, if you are more advanced and you have time to make creatives, I do recommend having at least 3 to 5 ads per ad set, as that's what I normally do. So for example, I will have my main ad, I'll have an ad with a different variation of the first 3 seconds of the video, I'll have a image ad, I'll have a carousel ad, and then I'll throw in another ad, maybe a testimonial ad or something that is like a product unboxing ad, something a little bit different than what I have then compared to my main ad that I've been running for very long. Even though I run 3 to 5 ads, I do recommend that 2 ads work well as a start, because as a beginner or an intermediate dropshipper, it can be difficult to create multiple ads and know what you're looking for. And think about this as a bigger picture. People really hate seeing the same ad more than once or twice. I mean, think about it. If you're watching TV and you see the same ad more than once or twice, you just start tuning it out. You don't even start watching it, or you don't understand, or you don't really want to look at it anymore. And that's the same thing that people are doing right now, is once they see the ad more than once or twice, they don't want to click on it, and they'll just simply click off. So by putting at least 2 ads per ad set, you're showing customers new content, you're keeping them engaged, and maybe you might be actually striking a chord with them that you didn't in previous videos or previous marketing angles that you're using. Really, don't be afraid to create new ads when you're seeing ads start to decay. That's a normal part of Facebook ads. It's something that I learned when I was testing one of my first winning products. Is when my ad died, basically I let my store die, and that was just me not knowing what to do and really not learning exactly what ad decay is and how to create multiple creatives. So now what I'm able to do is I create multiple ads ahead of time, and I plan accordingly because I know that just the single ad is going to die eventually after anywhere from a couple weeks to a few months. That's part of Facebook ads. What you need to do is actually start creating new creatives ahead of time, being proactive rather than reactive. And if you're able to do that, you can actually make your product, your winning product, and your campaigns last much longer just based on the fact you have such a high volume of new content and new creatives for people to see. Another insider tip is to separate lookalikes from interest. So last year, I put lookalike audiences and interests in the same campaign. I didn't really know that it was that big of a difference, but out of a whim, I just decided to separate them. What I found was by separating these two, I got a much higher ROAS. Actually, I got an increase from a 2 ROAS to a 3 or 4 ROAS just based on doing this simple trick that just separating the lookalike audiences from the interest audiences. And I recommend actually testing both of these ways for you to figure out which one works best specifically for you, right? With Facebook ads, I'm giving you the strategy of what I think works best and what I'm showing you works best on my store. But with that said, you need to take it with a grain of salt because not all the strategies that I'm showing you will work exactly the way they did for my store. So you need to be testing what works better, separating lookalikes from interest or keeping them together. And then based on that, whatever works best for you, separating or keeping them together, you can go ahead and proceed with that strategy. So, testing everything is really the key to maintaining profitability with Facebook ads. Now, I always get asked this question: when should I raise the budget? When should I horizontal scale? When should I vertical scale? When you're using this strategy, when you're using CBOs to scale using at least $150 budget and the 10 ad sets, I recommend increasing your CBO budget by 30%, no more nor less, after 48 hours. So say you run a campaign today. After 48 hours, you want to look at the data, look at the ad sets, and look at the overall ROAS. If the ROAS is good and you've turned off some ad sets that aren't performing well, at that point, you can decide if the ROAS is healthy and it's profitable, you can decide to take that campaign and increase the campaign budget on it by 30%. So if my campaign budget is set at 150, what I'll do is I'll do 150 times 1.3, which is an increase of 30%. And my new budget on that campaign would be $195. So after 48 hours, you can increase it to $195. And then after another 48 hours, it would be $250. After another 48 hours, it would be, and then after another 48 hours, it would be $329. I could go on, forever with this, but you guys get the picture. That is called vertical scaling, where you're increasing the budgets of your campaigns and the existing ad sets. Horizontal scaling would be launching new lookalikes, we'll be launching new interests, we'll be launching new types of targeting. That's what horizontal scaling is. Vertical scaling is increasing the budget on your already existing ad sets and campaigns. Now, this is a tip that I wish I learned a lot sooner than I did, but here we are. I learned it at some point, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. So it is perhaps the most important thing about Facebook ads and in general just with entrepreneurship and dropshipping is to be prepared to lose money. Now, I don't mean to be prepared to just throw away money and not know why you're testing certain products and not know why you're losing money. I mean the sense that, think of Facebook ads and advertising as a skill, right? Not everyone is going to be good at this skill starting out. I definitely wasn't, and it took me a lot of time to get better at it. But if you come into it with the mindset that you're going to be prepared to lose money and it's okay, and you come into the mindset that, you're thinking of rather than each dollar spent, as a dollar lost, right? And it was a dollar wasted. If you look at it as each dollar spent is a dollar that makes you come closer to finding your actual customers for your product, that's a way better mindset compared to thinking the negative way, right? It's kind of like the old saying, glass half full, glass half empty, right? You can look at something two ways. I choose to look at it the glass half full. What I've found after talking to many people and seeing all the comments is most people will spend less than $1,000 on Facebook ads before they give up, which means if you're in that situation, let me know, and I'm more than happy to help you out. Another point is to always follow one strategy and not let your emotions get in the way of executing the strategy. I've had many times where I'm working late at night and I'll see a campaign that's losing money and I'll turn it off rather than following the strategy. What I recommend you do is actually be able to analyze your ad sets and analyze your data with a clear mind, so you can either do it in the morning or maybe in the middle of the day and actually make your decisions then, and compared to at midnight when you might be tired and you might not have a little bit not as much control over your emotions. For the final tip, I recommend to use minimum ad set spend limits. Now this is actually going to allow you to utilize the benefits of CBO while also using the benefits of an ad set level budget, because what you can do is you can actually set a minimum ad set level budget on every ad set you have in your CBO. So how it works, what I'd like you to do is set a minimum ad set spend limit around your CPP, which is your break-even cost per purchase of your particular product that you're selling. Now I'm gonna break this down to you really quick. For example, if your product, you sell it for $20 on your website and it costs you $5 from your supplier, your break-even CPP would be $15. That means that you would want to set on every ad set you have in there a minimum ad set spend limit. That means for every ad set in your CBO campaign that you're launching, you would want to make sure your minimum ad set spend limit is set at $15. This gives the ad sets a chance to at least get sales at first, and they won't die out right away in the auction, because you can cut an actual winning ad set before it's had a chance to acquire the right customers. I've had that happen many times where I'll turn off an ad set and then 2 minutes later it gets a couple purchases, right? That happens a lot. I'm sure you've seen that same thing happen to your ads. And in this situation, you do not need to set a maximum ad set spend limit. If you constrict Facebook too much, it will actually spend in the wrong places and it won't do as well, because it doesn't have as much freedom to go find those initial buyers for you. And you may need to adjust your budget depending on the number of ad sets you have, right? So say, you're like, oh, Connor, well, you told me to run a $150 minimum, campaign budget, but if I have 10 ad sets and they're all at a break-even CPP of $15, isn't that going to spend like 15 on all of them? Well, what I would recommend doing in that case is maybe only running 5 or 6 ad sets, so that way your minimum spend limit is going to be met, but it still has some room to grow based on which ad sets are performing the best in that specific campaign. And with that said, my YouTube upload schedule is right here. Monday we have winning products, Tuesday Facebook ads, Wednesday we have top 10, Thursday is any e-commerce current events, and Friday is motivational. So if for any of these days you want any topics for me to talk about, please comment down below and let me know. I do giveaways on this channel every single week, so make sure you are subscribed. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Keep your mind right. Peace.